Let me come back to something we were talking about earlier, which is the metaverse and how these things play out. Because I don't know that it's really better than reality. I mean, I might be wrong about this, and it might just be me showing my age. But my strong impression, reinforced by Mark Zuckerberg's introductory video, is that the metaverse sucks and blows. And it's like, no way is this more fun than reality. Now, I think the Generation T, let's call them the 10-year-olds, have certainly played a lot of online games because it was the pandemic and we could no longer credibly ration their screen time. What I observe, though, is that when they're exposed to cool reality, as in, bicycles down hills kind of reality, it's still pretty appealing. And this is the point about risk that you mentioned. The problem about the metaverse is there is no risk.
Right.
The problem about computer games is you die and then you, respawn. I don't think that we're really designed by evolution to be that satisfied by a world in which we're infinitely lived and there is no pain. So I sense that, I may be wrong about this, but my sense is that Generation T is going to get bored of the metaverse and be more interested in guns. Than actually in
I mean, I certainly hope that's true. I just wonder if that's going to take a parental intervention. So when we moved to Florida, at the beginning of the pandemic, everybody's stuck in the house. You literally have no ability to send your kids to school. And so I'll say the kids watched a little more TV than they probably should have at the beginning of the pandemic. We moved to Florida, we turned off the TV, we haven't turned the TV back on again, and the kids are radically happier. I mean, they're enjoying life, they're out playing at the park, and they're
That's why we
around.
went to Montana. We went to Montana because being outdoors was going to be possible. In California, you will recall, the most insane public health intervention was they closed the parks and beaches.
They closed the damn turnoffs on Mulholland Drive. This is the thing that was crazy. I would take my kids on drives, and you'd see naked homeless people, literally naked homeless people walking along Mulholland Drive. But then they would have yellow tape across the turnoffs because people were going to get together and have orgies on the turnoffs off of Mulholland Drive in the open air.
That was
absurd. And so when we came here and our kids could play, and none of the other parents here cared. They're like, yeah, all the kids should get together and they should play and they should all give each other COVID. No one cares. And so it made a big difference. But I wonder if, because right now, I think most people are living half online and half offline.
Yeah.
And so they're now at kind of an inflection point in terms of what you choose. And so for people, like me, it's a little easier because one day a week I'm forced to be offline. And so, Friday night to Saturday night, I cannot interact in the online world. It just doesn't exist. And that world is, the offline world is much happier and much more interesting than the online world. And even when I'm online now, I'll say one of the biggest changes in my life, one of the best things that my wife ever did, is maybe 3-4 years ago, probably 5 now, she said to me, Twitter is eating your life because all you do is just keep checking your notifications because all it is just endless mentions of you. It's just an ego machine.
Yeah.
So she said, I need you to take that off your phone. Yeah. And so I took Twitter off my phone, so I can't actually check Twitter on my phone. If I want to check Twitter, I have to sit down with my computer and open it up, and it's an actual burden to actually to go online. But for people who are sort of half in and half out, being totally immersed in the online world is somehow easier for people to contemplate now than I think being totally not immersed in any of this.
Yeah.
If you said to somebody, we're going to cut off your internet access today, or you're going to be on the internet all the time, I think you'd get a pretty even population split on that, and I think it would actually break down. I'd be interested to see how that would break down along class lines. I'm actually not sure.
Well, 2 thoughts. I mean, one is that everybody should turn off Twitter notifications if they have any public profile at all. And I did this in, I guess, early 2020. I started writing for Bloomberg Opinion instead of the Sunday Times in London. And as soon as you start writing for a US-based publication, the haters seem to multiply exponentially. And I realized it was making me unhappy to see all the snark. And I had a great insight, which was this: would you let these people into your home? If not, why let them into your head? And so that rule has served me well. I turned off notifications. I only see what people I follow have to say. Everyone should do this. If not, you're going to drive yourself nuts. Point 1. Point 2, Neil Stephenson, who coined the term metaverse in Snow Crash, a book I bet you've read, was telling us about a dystopian future. I mean, Snow Crash depicts California as a sort of wasteland in which the reason you spend half your life in the metaverse is that the real world totally is awful. And I think that's important to remember. Stevenson's a tremendous visionary. He has a good handle on the future, it seems to me, and that's why I read all his stuff. He also has just published a book on the whole climate question, which I highly recommend, which geoengineering is the sort of core of the plot. But I think the metaverse was supposed to be a dystopian vision, and we should bear that in mind. I also do think that without much parental intervention, if you give children decent real world, three-dimensional real space activities, they will go for them, especially boys who quite like hurting one another. I mean, it's kind of weird how much they like that. But my 4-year-old is just Conan the Barbarian. I mean, he just wants, he so needs contact sport. And he just does it to his brother, around the house.
As my father says, kids are innocent but not good. There's a big difference between innocent and good. Kids are.
I don't think Campbell is innocent. I think he may be exhibit A for the counter argument. But I think this is why I'm not maybe as pessimistic as you, because I just think that this generation is going to revolt against endless screen time and virtual activities, as long as we don't cut them off from reality. And the worst way in which excessive and over persistent COVID regulations are harming us, I think, lies in this area where we're making it harder for children even to see one another's faces.